We live in a world that never stops talking, but we've forgotten how to think together. We share opinions like trading cards. We debate to win instead of to learn from one another. And we call it communication, but maybe what's missing isn't conversation. It's the intellectual intimacy behind it all. Today we're going to dissect the third pillar on my list. I'm not going exactly in the list that Tony and Alisa had for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but today I'm going to do my third one, which is intellectual intimacy, the art of shared thought. Because yes, you can be emotionally close, physically connected, even spiritually aligned, and still be strangers in how you think. What is intellectual intimacy? Intellectual intimacy is the space where curiosity meets respect. It's being able to explore ideas without turning them into arguments. It's the quiet comfort of knowing that your partner not only hears you, but understands how your mind works. It's not about agreeing on everything. It's about thinking together. And that's something most of us, we never were taught to do. In today's world, we confuse information with understanding. We Google instead of discuss. We send memes instead of looking into meaning. And social media has turned dialogue into performance art. Everyone's broadcasting, no one's connecting. Couples fall into the same trap. We talk logistics, bills, kids, schedules, but not philosophy, not curiosity, not wonder. We stop sharing the why behind our thoughts. And the relationship, well, it turns mechanical. The problem isn't silence, okay? In our relationships, the problem isn't silence. It's intellectual laziness. We stop wanting to learn from one another. We stop wanting to learn what makes each other tick mentally. We worry about our physical. We worry about the sex. We worry about the bills. But we don't worry about our minds together. And when that curiosity, when that dies, our connection dies with it. So how do you rebuild it? And these are tools I've used, might work for you, might not. Lynn and I, my wife, are in very different intellectual bases. Her mind is very, she's a therapist. She works great with that. She's a great artist, musician. Her brain is a conundrum for me. It's like it makes no sense to me the way she thinks. But I know in my mind, if you ever watched it in my videos, my mind is the same way. It goes everywhere and nowhere at the same time. It's exhausting for a lot of people to listen to. My old students will tell you that. They'll tell you that sometimes I drove them crazy. I bet my fellow teachers said the same thing, and probably my principals. But the point is, everyone's brains are different. Everyone's minds are different. And what we're supposed to do is learn and grow from one another. And I think that's the art that's dying. So how do we rebuild it? To rebuild, you don't need to agree. You just need curiosity. Ask questions that don't have easy answers. Share something that inspired you. A book, a podcast, a weird thought you had in traffic. Debate gently, listen fully, and be open to being wrong. This has become more and more to the forefront since the Charlie Kirk assassination. There are people who are like, I didn't like Charlie, but he shouldn't die that way. Other people like, I love Charlie, and he died for free speech. And other people like, I hate Charlie, and he got what he deserved. Those are three different avenues. What I would say to those people, all three, is find someone who doesn't agree with you on any subject. Charlie Kirk, the economy, the government shutdown, the price of groceries, anything. And instead of just going in there trying to convince them to agree with you, listen to what they're saying. Tell your side when it's your turn and just discuss. You don't have to leave the room or the argument feeling like you won or lost. Just discuss, learn, grow. Because the goal of all of this is not to agree with one another. We don't want to be so like each other that there's never a discussion. We want to disagree so we can learn and grow. We want to discover new things. Intellectual intimacy is learning how to be fascinated by each other again. In our culture, we're obsessed with being right. Understanding has gone out the window, okay? Being understanding is like the most rebellious act out there. And maybe, just maybe, thinking together is the deepest form of intimacy there is. If a thought hits your head and you're going, should I bring this up? How do I bring this up? Will they listen? Think about it a little bit more. What I've even done sometimes is write it down. Talk about it to yourself a little bit, then bring it up. And that way you bring it up in a time and a place where it's, one, you're not in a rush, or the other person's got a lot going on. Because sometimes we argue because we're so busy, we can't focus on another thing. Sometimes, hey, I saw something funny and it didn't make sense to me. Does it make sense to you? And sometimes they can explain it. And sometimes, you know what they'll say? Oh, that is funny. I don't get it either. Great example I always use is my wife and I. We have very different tastes in music, in movies, and art. She loves end of the world, zombie type movies and, dramas with love interests. Okay, I like sci-fi, action, hero type movies. I also like the other ones too. But I've never gone to her and say, hey, we're not going to watch this because I don't get it. I watch it and then I'll talk to her about it afterwards to try to see what it is about these things that she enjoys. And she's asked me the same thing. She's asked me about Captain America and all the superheroes. And I explained that, as a kid, I wanted a superhero to come save me. I wanted someone to be there to support me. I wanted someone who could rescue me. And in the comics that I read, these people seemed like people who could rescue me. These people seemed like people who would actually care that I existed. And that's what I really wanted. I wanted someone out there to care. Now, did we talk about this, year one of our marriage? No. This has been decades. Okay, we've been married for over 30 years. These are conversations we've had more recently. Because growing together is a process. You don't just plant a tree seed and the next day you have a 30-foot tree. It takes time, effort, energy. Sometimes bad things happen. Lightning will hit the tree, or you'll have a nick on the tree from a car backing into it. But if the roots are solid, if you have a good foundation and you keep loving on it, it will keep growing. And that's the point. I love talking to my wife about things I don't get that she does. Like, she's into music. She loves music. She loves art. She loves all these things. And to me, I look at it going, okay. It doesn't change my world. Playing an instrument. I can play an instrument. I don't like it. I can draw. I can paint. I don't like it. It's not something that brings me joy, but it brings her so much joy. What brings me joy? Few things, but not every. I like playing video games. She doesn't get it. I like watching a lot of movies. She doesn't get them all, And I think we've now grown into a couple where we understand that just because we think different, just because we have different ideas on life, doesn't mean we're not meant for each other. What it means is we can grow from one another. I don't think I would have ever watched a Twilight movie, or heck, Harry Potter, or, The Walking Dead, all of them, or other shows and movies like that if I didn't have my wife. And she probably would have never watched a single Marvel superhero movie or a DC movie or sci-fi movies if it wasn't for me. I wouldn't understand the oboe and the double reed of the oboe, or the difference between an oboe and a flute and a clarinet and a sax without her. And she probably wouldn't understand who Jabba the Hutt is. or Star Wars or Larry Bird or other things that I enjoy without me. That's what we've done. We've grown together and we've learned about each other and what makes us different yet the same. We both love our kids. We both love our grandkids. We both want what's best for this world. We both love helping people who need it. We both love changing the world for the better, even if it's one person. We both love traveling, and we both love spending time together, even if it's just sitting on the couch watching another zombie movie or another superhero movie. Because we know intellectually we're connecting. Now, does it always work? No. Is there some things that she does that still drive me crazy because I don't get it? Yep. And this will be something that we'll continue to do for the rest of our marriage and our lives. But in the end, I would rather spend eternity trying to figure out Lynn's brain and her mindset than a day without her. Because that's the point, guys. If you have a significant other, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a husband, a wife, a spouse, a person, someone in your life that is important to you, you need to learn their likes, their dislikes, what makes them learn, what makes them grow, what makes them who they are. Because in the end, that's the point. We're not isolated. We're not alone. We're together. We're a corporate group of people surviving every day, trying to be better. Thank you for watching.